you so much for being here today. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. Hope you're having a wonderful day. It's a lovely Tuesday afternoon, and we're going to have a great time together. It's evening, actually. It's evening, and thank you very much for the 1.2k likes on TikTok. Please let's keep it up. Apparently TikTok doesn't like folks not showing their faces, but I think we're going to suffer it to be so for now. But we're going to have a great time. We're going to be listening to something, from a session we had sometimes in the past, and I think it was last week we had a session and we discussed, the whole designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern by the President of the United States, President Donald Trump. And we got into some things, and some of the things that we talked about then we're going to talk about also again today. But before we get into all of that, if you're on TikTok, kindly power tap. Let's try and get the likes up, especially now that we know that TikTok is trying on folks having live sessions without showing their faces, but I think it works pretty well for us the way we've set it up. But please let's make it work by power tapping on TikTok. Thank you very much. I'm just going to check to be sure we're good on other platforms. We're streaming today on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. I'm just going to put a link on Twitter for our followers there. I'm just going to check the other platforms to be sure we're good, and then we can get started. But if you join us on YouTube, please like the live. Thank you very much. Please like the live so the algorithm can recommend this live stream to others. Thank you. All right, where were we? Hello. Thank you for being here. Please, if you're on TikTok, please don't forget. I know you're probably busy working and all, but please just pay me one hand and some, maybe one or two fingers, and power tap. Ẹkáàbọ, Babati, good to see you. Thank you for joining. And if you're on TikTok, please click on the heart icon above my picture. Kindly click on that heart icon. Drop your heart to me, so the algorithm can recommend the live to others. Okay. All right. Okay, so like we always do, I'm going to read the description. I'm going to be playing a video on our YouTube channel, QORIS. I'm going to read the description, then we're going to listen to the recording. Remy Guy, Ẹkáàbọ, Ẹkú gbádùn. Facebook, Ẹkú jayé. Ṣé bó ṣe máa ń kí àwọn jayé nìyẹn? It's good to have you join us here. Thank you very much for being here. I saw you, I was like, look at the face of this man. Yeah, Lagbara, you have used TikTok to boju. It is well. All right. So we're going to start with the description. No, it's not monitoring spirit though. Facebook just brought you like a suggestion. I was like, so but it's good to connect with you. To see you on other platforms. I don't think I've ever seen you here. Okay, even this is your face, so that's the funny thing. I've never really seen you on TikTok like that. But I am very glad you are here. All right. Ejabosori Michelle. Adamorisha. Good to see you. Are you from Saleko? Yes, sir, Mr. Remy. Are you from Saleko, Madam Orisha? Or from Ikperu? Architect Adekunle on YouTube. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you. Ekpele. Awesome. All right. I think our Facebook is up as well. This is beautiful. So we're going to get started, and I'll start with the description, like I said. All right. While many Nigerians are crying out, oh boy, wait oh, but you know the person behind this name though. Oh really? That means you don't want me to know that it is you, Nia. Okay, oh. Okay, oh. Once I say that Mauritius, that's what I think of. All right, let's get into this video, okay? I'm going to read the description and start listening to it. Please don't stop our tapping, thank you. How many accounts do you have? Oh, Balufon, it is well. But we thank God, You are definitely at the Mauritius. Now that you have said that, I know who you are. Ẹkáàbọ. All right. So we're going to be listening to this recording on our YouTube channel, and if we have to listen to the other part, we'll listen as well. But if not, we'll get to discuss afterwards. So we might even bring people up on TikTok. That also helps with the conversation. So I'm going to get started with the description, then we'll listen to it. And we've not even started. Some people already insulting us in the comment section. Why not just calm your nerves, listen, and then you can determine if you're ready to go through what you're writing in the comment section, because it might be your experience in the next few days at this rate that you're going. But may God have mercy on you. Okay, Steve, what's your name? All right, let's start with the description. While many Nigerians are crying out against the endless killings in the North and the Middle Belt, another story is quietly unfolding. Some organizations tied to IPOB are using that pain to push their own secessionist goals. They are turning tragedy into propaganda, lobbying in the United States, and weaving the narrative of Christian genocide into their separatist movement. Charles Soludo, the governor of Anambra State, has made it clear that those causing chaos in his region are not outsiders, they are Christians too. Yet, these groups keep selling the story of religious persecution to foreign audiences, twisting facts to suit their ambition.
Bluetooth disconnected.
The American Veterans of Igbo Descent. One group, the American Veterans of Igbo Descent, even wrote to the President of the United States claiming they know Nigeria's terrain and are ready to serve. That's dangerous. This raises serious questions. How can any group celebrate the collapse of the same country just because they want to secede? How can they choose chaos over dialogue and destruction over politics? It is time Nigerians call out the deceit. Yes, we must speak for those suffering in the Middle Belt. And yes, the government must act decisively. But we must also be wise not to become pawns in someone else's selfish agenda. Here's how IPOB is using the Middle Belt crisis to push its agenda. Listen and enjoy. But while we're doing this, please power tap and let's share the live. If you're on TikTok, click on the heart icon, join the team, drop a heart me. Let's push this live to the FYP. Thank you very much. Here's how IPOB is using the Middle Belt crisis to push its agenda. This video, it will explain some of the things I've been trying to. Okay, let me play you one of those videos. I hope it will explain some of the things I've been trying to pass across. By the way, before I play this video, do you remember a couple of weeks, about a month ago or thereabout, there was a guy called Mike Arnold who traveled to Nigeria and was having this media run, going from, especially was on Arise, talking about the fact that, there's this thing happening in Nigeria. It was the mayor of one small town in Texas and all of those things. And it was essentially becoming our friend, talking about Christian persecution and things like that. Well, it turns out that he's working with the average guys, and his image and the videos, they're out. So it's not, this is not, we're not assuming, we know this is true. But there's a video they made together. I'd like to play that, and I want you to listen so you understand the fact that it's not just about people coming to save you. We'll need all the help we can get to, but maybe not this way. So take a listen to this. This is Mike Arnold with his Igbo friends discussing how Nigerian Christians have been persecuted. Take a listen, please.
This is Mike Arnold. I'm back in the United States with some of my dear friends and brothers who are part of what I call the sleeping giant, the mighty Nigerian diaspora population around the world. This giant is waking up, and good things will come of it. Just yesterday, President Donald Trump declared Nigeria a country of particular concern. A lot of people have worked very hard on this for a very long time, and it's going to give tools to the United States and other countries to apply pressure to the government of Nigeria to start to clean things there. Now, what Trump said next is even more important. He said, this is just the beginning. I believe that there are investigations, there are indictments, and who knows what else coming down. The Nigerian leaders who have been complicit or profited from or intentionally turned a blind eye to this genocide, this Holocaust, the light is coming. You will be found and you will be brought to justice. My friends in Nigeria, what happened yesterday is spiritually like the parting of the Jordan River. Promised land lies ahead, a new Nigeria of righteousness and peace and prosperity. The battle is just starting now. Do not be afraid. God is on our side. A new Nigeria is coming. Thank God.
Thank you, my brother. My name is Evans Wankwo. I am from Cincinnati, Ohio. I was born in Nigeria. Nigeria was a very beautiful country until the extremists, backed up by the British government, turned it into a dark nation. And we all know that there's only one thing that could drive away darkness, and that is light. Yesterday, President Trump just shown a big floodlight on the nation. This nation has turned to be an evil nation. And I say that every evil has an expiration date. Yesterday, President Donald J. Trump just stamped expired on the evil that's going on in Nigeria. Thank you, President Trump, and over 125 million Christians in Nigeria say thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me begin by thanking God in a special way for this development that the President of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump, has put Nigeria back on the list of countries of particular concern. And I also have to thank our brother here, Mike Arnold, and his close friend, Gibbs, and also in a special way, Ted Cruz, the senator. Let me clear something. You might be hearing a couple of propaganda going around. Oh no, this is going to bring sanction and more difficulties for the Nigerian people. Do not pay attention to that. If that is going to be the outcome of this mission, as a Catholic priest, I will not be part of it. I'm Reverend Father Augustine Odimegwa. I am telling the Nigerian community for a fact, this is primarily aimed at checkmating the high-level political individuals who are sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria. And I want to let you know that that is why they are running around, helter-skelter, trying to figure out how to stop it. But God is in control, because basically what it means is that many of them, they are going to lose their visa status, coming to America, even parts of Europe. Many of them who have assets in America and Europe and all parts of the world, they are running the risk of losing all their assets, bank accounts. They are running the risk. So long as you identified genocide against Christians in the past 10 years. Once you are identified as an individual, you are running the risk of losing everything you have overseas. And we'll continue to fight until we fix Nigeria. If we cannot fix Nigeria, we will work for the disintegration of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
My name is Dr. Sylvester Onya, President of AVID. The whistleblower in this is Mazin Namdekanu. He started talking about the jihadists, the Fulanis, coming over to take and displace the indigenous people of Nigeria. Well, nobody paid him heed. The only thing they're interested in doing is charging him to court. For no offense, he have committed nothing. So this coming Tuesday, we are very much aware of what has been fired, and the world is watching. We are watching. The United States is watching. So Honorable Justice Omotosho should do the rightful thing. We encourage him to follow the rule of law. You cannot charge a man for nothing and expect to do something with it. You cannot use a repealed law to judge any human being. You cannot do double jeopardy on any human being. You cannot extraordinarily rendition somebody from another country, Kenya, to Nigeria, and want to profit from it. Illegality cannot yield anything. So nobody is stupid these days. We will fight, and just as we have won on the CPC designation, we will win the case of Nnamdi Kanu, and you need to set him free and bring peace to normal human beings in Nigeria. Concentrate on dealing with the people that are decimating everybody, people that are trying to kill off Christians, and leave people that want to live a normal life. You cannot benefit anything from that. And we're equal to the task. And we encourage every Nigerian to stand behind Nnamdi Kanu to get and demand for his unconditional release this coming Tuesday. Period. We are sick and tired of everyday adjournment, shenanigan court. There's nothing working. We should be worrying about development of the nation, not xenophobia and the Igbos, not attacking the Igbo markets, businesses. Enough of this nonsense. It must come to an end.
Are we still in the north? Is it still about Christians being killed in the Middle Belt? Are you listening to people that have been pushing that agenda? Like, what agenda are they pushing? They're just talking. Oh, wait. Give me a second. I'm going to read something. I want you to listen to this. This is from the Cable. Insights, social media amplifiers of Christian genocide claim in Nigeria affiliated with IPOB. I used to think they were not the same, and I don't think they're the same, but the more you see, the more they seem alike. Certain echo chambers on social media have played significant roles in amplifying claims of Christian genocide in Nigeria, the Cable can report. Since Boko Haram's insurgency began in 2009, allegations of a Christian genocide in Nigeria have periodically surfaced. While such narratives have persisted over the years, their intensity has fluctuated, fading briefly after last year before regaining momentum in 2025. In a Code for Africa, CFA supported the investigation, and open source intelligent OSINT analysis indicated that the earliest major spike in mentions of related claims on X, formerly Twitter, appeared in March. On March 11 and 12, the United States Congress heard proposals from lawmakers seeking the imposition of sanctions on Nigeria as a country of particular concern. When was this? March 11th and 12th. That is, how many months ago is that? That's about 8 months ago. A CPC is a country with a manifest propensity to religious intolerance, discrimination, and persecution. Data from X show that online conversations referencing the Christian genocide narrative remained below 5,000 posts from March to July, rose to nearly 10,000 between July and August, and then recorded a double surge in October, peaking at around 20,000 posts, the highest level in years. Between January 1 and October 1, the period covered by the investigation, there were approximately 165,000 mentions of the topic on X, an average of about 578 posts per day. In the same period, the posts reached an estimated 2.83 billion people, a figure more than 12 times Nigeria's population of roughly 230 million and about 1/3 of the world's 8 billion people. About 38,000 of all posts about the topic came from users posting from Nigeria based either on their profile location, geotag data, or inferred location from elsewhere. The cable found 4 prominent hashtags infused in the discourse. Hashtag Christian genocide, hashtag Truth Nigeria, hashtag Lara Logan, and hashtag Biafra exit now. There are understandable reasons for some of the hashtags. Truth Nigeria is a media platform funded by Equipping the Persecuted, a humanitarian aid non-profit in Iowa, US. According to the platform's website, it was launched to challenge the biased mainstream media coverage of violence in Nigeria that ignores what they describe as a Christian genocide. Jude Saul, the platform's founder, has appeared on talks hosted by Lara Logan, a US investigative journalist who has also amplified the claims. But the hashtag Biafra exits now was an inexplicable component within the online discourse. The cable found that the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, a separatist group in Nigeria that aims to restore the defunct Republic of Biafra, was among organizations featured in the X post that mentioned claims of a Christian genocide. Sentiment analysis of the conversations showed that 68.3% of the posts carried a negative tone. Analysis of data sets obtained from CFA also showed that keywords supportive of Biafra and Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB leader, appeared most frequently in author bios. Some X accounts, notable for championing calls for IPOB separation from Nigeria, featured in the conversation. Multiple tweets from J. Kokchukwu, for example, claimed an ongoing Christian genocide in Nigeria. The same account, which has about 241,000 followers, has repeatedly made posts in favor of IPOB. How did IPOB become entangled in the Christian genocide narrative? Confidence Mark Harry, a senior geopolitics analyst at SBM Intelligence, linked the separatist group's involvement in amplifying the claim to underlying ideological sentiments. Quote, "The story about Christian genocide in Nigeria is not something that was pushed by any other organization. IPOB started it as far back as 2016. Quote, "The story about Christian genocide in Nigeria is not something that was pushed by any other organization. IPOB started it as far back as 2016, Mark Harry said. In 2016, violent clashes between the separatists and state security forces in Anambra left an unconfirmed number of victims dead. Most of the killings were underreported. It was very common to see handles that showed Nigerian army violence against IPOB supporters and their members in the southeast," Mark Harry explained. Mark Harry also noted that IPOB is sympathetic towards the US President Donald Trump administration. Christians were among Donald Trump's strongest supporters during his first and second terms, largely due to his positions on social issues such as abortion, religious freedom, and conservative judicial appointments. Similarly, Christianity is the dominant religion. The framing of what they, IPOB, are going through in the hands of the Nigerian government, who they have accused of having an Islamic motivation, trying to suppress Christian ideology and all of that, the Trump administration will be a lot more responsive in their sanctions or their proposed sanctions. But Mark Harry noted that an overwhelming drive of the resurrection of the Christian genocide narrative is owed to the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria, whose members have testified to an intentional killing of Christians in the US Congress. Regarding IPOB's entanglement, quote, "Much of what they are doing is more in line with their own plight, not necessarily the plight of Christians generally. It is more of, quote, if the Trump administration focuses on Christian plight in Nigeria, there is a chance that a little bit of that spotlight will be on the southeast," unquote, he added. It also doesn't help that Intersociety, an NGO that is very interested in documenting quote-unquote killings of Christians in the southeast, is at the forefront of this cause. Earlier this year, the International Society for Civil Liberties and Rule of Law in the Society, a pro-Christian civil rights group with a penchant for promoting sectional interest, claimed at least 7,087 Christians have been killed in 2025. The claim, which said the killed Christians surpassed the death of Palestinian civilians in Gaza this year alone, was circulated widely by foreign media. Cable Check, the cable's fact-checking arm, found the reports to be false. Emeka Umeagbalasi, Intersociety's founder, repeatedly voices support for Biafra and Kanu. In 2023, In the Society condemned the criminalization of IPOB's Monday sit-at-home order in the Southeast. The report was published in the Association of Catholic Information in Africa, ACI Africa. Foreign interference. In a France 24 TV interview, Daniel Bola, special advisor to the president on policy communication, blamed the narratives of a Christian genocide in Nigeria on interference from Western actors. Bola said the instigated claims were in response to Nigeria's call for a two-state solution to the long-standing Israeli-Palestinian conflict. We do not believe that the sanctity of human life should be trapped in the corridors of endless debate and so on and so forth. According to Bola, 24 hours after Shetima's speech, Bill Maher, a U.S. comedian, started the Christian genocide campaign. Maher is an open pro-Israel supporter recognized as such by Jewish media. The real-time host previously said it was quote-unquote unjust that Palestinian people were forced to move, but they need to make the best of it. He has also said he's more on the side of the Israelis in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. U.S. lawmakers who have been at the forefront of pushing for sanctions against Nigeria include Ted Cruz, a Senator Riley Moore, and Chris Smith, members of the House of Representatives. The cable found that Cruz has received a total of $1,872,038 in donations from the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, IPAC, a pro-Israel lobbying group. IPAC has also previously supported Moore, contributing a total of $42,300 to his political campaigns, while Smith has been the recipient of £267,975. The group also donated $44,479. What am I saying pounds? Dollars. The group has also donated $44,479 to Congressman Chip Roy. Mike Arnold, that's where we're going. The one that I just spoke in the video we listened to. Mike Arnold, a former mayor of Blanco, Texas, and founder of Africa Arise International, has insisted that the ongoing violence and displacement in northern and central Nigeria amount to genocide against Christian communities. How is Mike Arnold, who is representing Biafra interests, IPOB interests, be talking about what's happening in the northern and central Nigeria to Christians? And folks actually think this is about Christians. I am a Christian, by the way. And like I said, I want our Christian brothers to get all the help they can get. But don't be naive. Presenting his quote-unquote evidence in Abuja on Wednesday, he said Roy was one among several American officials with whom he was communicating updates. Why Nigeria? Yusuf Bako, a geopolitical expert and lecturer of international relations at Bayes University, told the cable that the quote-unquote false reports about the genocide of Christians in Nigeria are being spread by foreign individuals and organizations that have an agenda. Now, this thing is pretty long, but I'll just read the last part. Bako noted that international political differences exist within the country, which could further amplify these external attacks. We must appreciate that outside interference will leave us without a society to be able to have those differences, he said, urging Nigerians to unite against aggression and the falsehood of this non-existent, quote-unquote, genocide. A report commissioned by Nigeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs labeled the allegation of the Christian genocide in the country as a dangerous single linear narrative. That was a long read. I just want to say this, and it's important to repeat it because I don't like extremes. One extreme is nothing is happening there, or they're just lying, or something is happening. People are being killed, and it's terrible. But the people pushing this are using, this is what happened in 1966. This happened literally. Who was on Radio Kaduna January 15? Nzogu. What did Nzogu think he was doing? Revolutionary coup. He became the voice of the coup, the face of the coup. The one everybody was insulting. The one everybody still insults today and called the leader of the coup. Of course, he did terrible stuff. For instance, he killed the Sadauna, killed his wife, and things like that. Terrible stuff. But all that he was doing, he thought he was a revolutionary. They put his face out there. But underneath everything, they were simmering. There was something else going on, which was ethnic in nature. And let me tell you what IBB used, the phrase IBB used. IBB said it was an unmistakably, it said that the coup took on an unmistakably ethnic coloration. So there was an unmistakably ethnic coloration going on, or ethnic undertone that was there, but the facade you saw was revolution. And the people that were used were people that were passionate, like Nzogu, like Adewale Ademoyiga. They just wanted change. The people that are being used today are the people suffering in the Middle Belt. The pastors went to the Congress, Catholic, and different, it's not even about denomination. Different Christians were speaking at the Congress, oh, they are doing this to us, come and save us and everything. You really think you are doing that because you think that what you're doing is, like I said, it's like the revolutionaries. They were not wrong in their motivations. They were wrong in their actions. The ministers that went from the Middle Belt, they were not wrong in their motivations, and they were not even wrong with their actions. But they do not know that there's a bigger narrative going on somewhere that has nothing to do with what they went to the US to do. And what is it? Is what we read, is what you listen to. Is IPOB. This whole thing has nothing to do with what's happening in the Middle Belt. You know what? Let me read another report. This time, I'm going to read from Premium Times. I may not go through the whole article like I did the other time because of time. It's nice. Premium Times, other time, because of time. I like the rhyme, which also rhymes. Cool. Anyway, let's get into some of these things. Just very quick. I'm just going to read part of it and then we'll go on. So this person is called Philip Van Niekerk. I'll tell you more about him later. He begins his article by saying 2 years ago at a dinner in Washington for so-called Africa experts to brief an incoming congressman on the continent, the newly elected lawmaker began his contribution by declaring that one of Africa's most urgent crises was a Christian genocide in Nigeria. When asked to elaborate, he cited a single name, Nnamdi Kanu, as an example of persecuted Christian languishing in prison. How did that name come up? We'll discover that later. So after the person says, he gave an example of Nnamdi Kanu. He cited a single name, Nnamdi Kanu, as an example of a persecuted Christian languishing in prison. The table fell silent when someone gently explains that Kanu was not a pastor or missionary, but a Biafran secessionist leader jailed for fomenting rebellion and inciting violence, not for his faith. That same combination of ignorance and emotional manipulation resurfaced this weekend when Donald Trump erupted on social media, threatening a quote-unquote fast, vicious, and sweet military invasion of Nigeria to stop a supposed genocide against Christians. The statement was as dangerous as it was absurd. I'm just going to go to the last paragraph. Trump's eruption is the culmination of a years-long lobbying campaign in Washington by Biafran separatists who have cleverly repackaged their secessionist grievance as a struggle to save quote-unquote persecuted Christians. Since 2019, Biafran groups have declared more than $1 million on lobbying in Washington through Mercury Public Affairs, BW Global Group, and Daniel Golding. These are the people who push the narrative. States who see Nigeria through the prism of their own culture wars. Senator Ted Cruz has floated legislation invoking religious persecution. Congress Riley Moore has made it a personal crusade. Even the comedian Bill Maher got in on the act, scolding the media for ignoring it. People are still being used. Here's the bad part. If you read the Igbo National Caucus Protocol of 1964, one of the things that those guys said was that Michael Okpara showed his hands too early. I think these avid guys, those are people that spoke earlier. One of them is a Reverend Father. He mentioned it, by the way. They showed their hands too early. So what's happening is this. You are trying to link your secessionist bid to folks who are being killed for something totally different in the Middle Belt. And we're supposed to say, oh, let them come and save us, because in your mind, you heard what he said. He said, we're going to work, break Nigeria. He's talking about the fact that Kanu must be released. What does Kanu being released have to do with what's going on in the Middle Belt? And was Kanu not going around with a shawl saying that he was a Jew? When did he become a Christian being persecuted? And there's a third bit to this. The third bit is what we listened to earlier, having to do with rare earth minerals and stuff like that in Nigeria. But the issue is, I hope now with everything we've read just now, you understand why we're saying that some people have the mindset of the irresponsible prostitute in the parable I shared last week of Solomon. Their goal is not to have a living child. Their goal is to ensure that you suffer just like they are doing. And if you were not here when I shared that story, it's from the Bible. Solomon had to preside over a case. As a case of two prostitutes who had babies. Interesting thing, considering their line of work, but it is what it is. They had babies. One slept on her own child. That's what I call the irresponsible prostitute. She slept on her child till the child died. But because it was in the middle of the night, she quickly did away with the child and picked the baby of a colleague. When the other person woke up in the morning, was like, "That's my baby." I said, "No, it's not your baby, it's my baby." So they went to the king. The king said, "Whose baby is it?" "Oh, this one says it's hers. The other one says it's hers. There was no DNA test. There's no way to know." "Okay, so how do we get this sorted?" The king then said, "You know what, let's divide this baby in two. We'll give half to this woman and then the other half to the other woman." And one woman said, "Yes, do it. That would be fair." The other one said, "Just let her have it. Just let her have the baby." The king said, "The one who said let her have the baby is the true mother, because she doesn't want any harm to come to that child. The other one was saying divide anything. That one is not a mother. That's the irresponsible prostitute." The folks pushing this Biafra agenda are irresponsible prostitutes. In other words, they're not concerned what's happening to the baby in the Middle Belt. They don't care if everybody dies in North Central, and I hope that will not happen in Jesus' and by God's grace. Government has to do what they have to do. Things have to get better there. And we'll talk about some of the solutions later. But these clowns don't care. What they want is what they want. They will use you to get it, and they will drop you by the wayside. And this goes to Nigerians who are celebrating and tagging me, sending me messages. All of them from the Southeast, by the way. "Oh, they will invade your country now. Oh, they will destroy Nigeria now. What do you now do now?" I'm like, I thought you were Nigerians. Your home is desolate. Many cities and towns are deserted. You don't mind if it happens to other places. That's your own sense of fairness. Let them bomb everywhere. Make Port Harcourt the base. Port Harcourt is not your land. And people still think this is about Christian versus Muslim. Again, I'm a Christian. And I don't like the fact that Christians are dying. Or even Muslims for that matter. Nobody should be dying. But this case, this thing that's happening right now, it's more to do with propaganda than reality. And just in case you're from the Middle Belt and you're listening to me, your voice, your cry, your agitation is valid. And you should be heard. Right? And like I said the other day, I understand why you're pushing the Christian narrative. It's not really Christian. But you have to use that because that's what the world will hear. I get it. And it makes sense. It is strategic. It is brilliant. And I wish it was just working because you said it was Christian. Even though we can debate whether it was or not. But you know, if your family members are dying, who cares about debate? So I get it. But the flip side is folks, the flip side is what will happen when the folks who are trying to get in, so that trying to break Nigeria apart, are using the pain of others to push a narrative. I even paid for it, as we read here, over $1 million. Now, a lot of people have been clamoring for let them cuckoo break Nigeria. I like using cuckoo. I'm Yoruba, you know. Let them break Nigeria. Let's just do it once and for all. Here's what I would say. If you want to break Nigeria, you shouldn't be supporting a separatist who just wants to destroy everything. You should work through your representatives. Now somebody will come up and say, they're not our representatives, they don't care about us. We are Igbos. Those people, they're just stealing money. I've heard it several times. So do you know what sane people do? They infiltrate the political structure of their region. They infiltrate the political. One very good example is what happened in Ireland that led to Sinn Féin or Sinn Féin, depending on how you pronounce it. That party is literally a product of nationalism, of Irish nationalism. Scottish National Party, SNP, is literally the product of Scottish nationalism. How come people don't have the capacity to engage intellectually in things? For instance, if you're really bent on doing this thing, start a party. You're popular already. You are popular. Start a party. Infiltrate everywhere. The same way ABGA is so powerful in the southeast. Imagine if IPOB was a party. You really think they will not have all the governors in the southeast today? Or at least 2 or 3? You think they will not have people going to the House of Reps to represent their interest and the people's interest? Imagine those people were voted in. Imagine IPOB moved as a party. It is, listen, even right now, as bad as it be right now, IPOB is still popular in the southeast. But people say things like, we want to get it now. That now you have been shouting since about 10 years ago. Have you gotten it? No. You have still have not gotten it. Why not play the long game? Have a party, get into elective positions, have people in the parliament, in the state level. How did we get Amotekun? The good thing about Yoruba is that we don't really need one party because we have a different thing. But we're able to, because of course people are different, which is okay. They were able to galvanize all the governors in the southwest, worked with the houses of assembly in every state in the southwest, then pushed the bill until, of course, they got it passed in the National Assembly, and voila, we have Amotekun. You can have referendum that way. What is it with some people and structure and order? Like, you don't thrive in orderliness. It has to be dysfunctional. You have to break everything and scatter everything and bring guns. What? Listen, it's the same thing for people who are shouting Yoruba Nation. If you're really, by the way, I am in Yoruba Nation at the moment. Yoruba Nation is a reality. It's not going to happen. It is here. It's a nation without sovereignty, just like Scotland is a nation without sovereignty, and I'm happy with it as it is right now. But if you want a separate nation, create this critical mass, focus on that agenda, and let the people support it. If they support you, they'll vote off Kiriko and say, oh, but it will be hard. Nobody says it's going to be easy. The one you are doing right now is easy. It may take you 5 years, 10, 20, but it's called a vision. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2. The vision is for an appointed time. Even if it tarries, wait for it, it will not tarry. It will surely come to pass. That's what the Bible says. The vision is for an appointed time. It's a vision. It will come to pass eventually. But you push using your brains, not just scattering everywhere and calling a foreign country to invade Nigeria because you want to have Biafra. Ooh. Let me ask you a question. Let's say this thing doesn't work. It should not work, by the way. It's not going to work. How do you think other Nigerians are going to look at Igbo people? Because I don't think people actually understand that this thing actually, it whittles down your goodwill amongst human beings. The news is out, and I've only read a few, by the way. There are more things confirming. It's never confirming, just essentially reporting. They don't need to confirm anything because you see them even saying themselves. Just reporting what they are doing. So this thing goes out, everybody knows that this whole thing is not even about the people suffering, although we have to empathize with their sufferings, but it's actually about you trying to break up Nigeria. So it doesn't work out. How do you think people are going to look at people in Igbo land? Years ago, I used to be the one standing up and telling people, IPOB is not Igbo. I always believed it, and I think I still believe it somewhat, even right now. It's difficult, by the way. I'm just telling you the truth. It's very difficult to believe it. But I choose to believe it because I think that's the same thing to do. Or else, you just assume that everybody is stupid. I don't think everybody is stupid. I have friends who are from that side. They are not stupid. I always said IPOB is not Igbo. But that's because I can even say I can delineate. If you think majority of Nigerians can delineate, you must be joking. Once the report, I mean, we are speaking English. We're speaking English. We're on social media. We're not really in the marketplaces, and everybody begins. That hates you. Say they hate you. So think about everybody discovering the fact. In fact, let's assume it happens. It will not happen, by the way. But let's even say it happens. So when the dust settles, you really think you're going to stay in the same country with people that you want to break their country, not to have your own? How do people think? The more I study history and look at the news, it's becoming very clear to me that some things are continental, like it has to repeat itself every generation. The same mistake. How? At least we can learn from the past. You're actually trying to break up the country by soliciting, not just soliciting, but actively. You're even writing letter to Trump. We know the terrain. You know, here we are. Set. You know what? In case you were not here when I read, I don't have to read it again. The video will come out later tomorrow. Say, here we are. Send us. They're telling Trump to send you to fight your country of origin because you want your ethnic nationality to be quote unquote free. And here's the crazy part. There are people coming here right now in the comment section, Igbos, insulting me. Do you have brains? Is it that it's sawdust they put inside your skull? Don't you think? Do you not hear what I'm saying? Does it sound like I'm insulting you? Were you not properly raised? Okay, not that you're insulting me in the comment section. How does that make you feel better? It makes you look like an idiot. What's this? I won't mute you. Continue. Just so that as you are saying, it is going back to your parents because myself and your dad are mates, so you can be sending it to your parents. I just see the nonsense you can write in the comment section. How are you guys like this? Don't you understand what we are talking about? It will affect you more than any other people, more than any other group in Nigeria. And you now start the next generation of lamentation. I be lamenters, if there's any word like that. You now begin to lament all over again, generation to generation. They hate us, so they hate us. What did you do? They just hate us. This is what you're doing. This is sad. Every generation does the exact same. Guys, sincerely, if I tell you that there's nothing different in this thing, the only different thing here is this. There are more people in diaspora who are able to champion the cause. But the idea of the cause and the strategy they are using is exactly the same thing. The old dog has no new tricks, I guess. So, you have amplified it. You have said Nigeria is hating on. I feel sorry for folks in North Central. I've been there, by the way. I went to some parts of this. Not recently. It's been a while. Terrible. You know, you hear people. Of course, I didn't see. It wasn't like I was in the middle of the action, but I spoke to people and listened to them. Their concerns are real. The carnage is not made up. People are being killed. And many of these groups in the North End, you don't know the Birons, you don't know Angas, you don't know the Idoma. I'm sure some of you know. I'm just saying most of us. You don't know those people. How will you know Adara or Bachama? We don't know them. So they need something that you already know, which is Christianity. We are all Christians. So see, they are killing us. So I'm saying this because some folks, in a bit to make a case, are saying, oh, they're just exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating, no. But there are people whose stock in trade is to feed on other people's challenges or other people's pain in order to advance their own cause. And like their fathers failed, they will fail. If another generation comes up with this thing, that generation will fail. If it takes you 100 years to learn your lessons, you keep failing. And this is not just from me, it's from the mouth of every right-thinking person and from Atonyu Nuatashedi. If you don't understand that one, go and ask your Bible. Oh, you know, I said, yo, Agbao, Omodo, I want to Kugan. Come at your Adar call long, because there is no way you are bent on destroying a country because of some stupid idea. Get involved in politics. Guys, when was IPOB? When did this start? 2012. It's been 13 years. Think of what would have happened in 13 years. You think they would not have displaced Abga in the southeast? They would have easily. They're popular. Say presidency is maybe under 12, 15 years. That will come later. But how do you change laws? What's the primary thing? Number one, you want to make sure you have the houses of assembly in all those regions, and most likely, of course, have the governors as well. That may happen in 8 years or 12 or less. Then you have folks in the National Assembly and you keep pushing it. Let me tell you what IPOB needs, and all these agitators, all they need is just one clause. It's just one clause, and that clause is the clause that allows for a referendum in Nigeria. Let the people decide. Do I want them to have a referendum? Absolutely. There's a book on my shelf. Nigeria is negotiable. I believe that. Nigeria is, there's nothing like, oh, we cannot break. No. I mean, it's like being in a marriage and you have no options of leaving. Why can't you leave? You should be able to leave, but you can choose to stay. A lot of us have been married for, many of you have had reasons to leave your marriages. You chose to stay, not because you had no options to leave. A very popular couple, I've said this here before, a very popular couple in Hollywood who said, no, there's no option of kiniko, there's no option of divorce. They are the ones talking about different things I've never heard before happening in a person's marriage. Different arrangements. You'll be like, The children don't know what's going on, the kids are confused, everybody's just doing what they like because you said there is no clause. That thing is not going to happen. We must not divorce. I don't think it's good to divorce. The Bible says God hates divorce. But people have a right to leave if they want to. But then they also have the wisdom to stay, regardless of the challenges. That's what brings maturity. Not the denial of that option, but the choice not to take it. If everybody was exercising their choices, all of us would have divorced. You choose not to. Not because you cannot. Like, nobody's saying you must not. So Nigeria can be renegotiated. It's important we have these conversations. We must. But it's a conversation, not gun, not violence. So all they need is just ensure that referendum thing that Zeke worked against in 1954, by the way. That's another thing. You guys have short-term thinking. Success in the very short. It happened in 54. It happened in 66. It happened in 64. It happened in 54, 64, 66, 93. It's happening again. Just win, sharp. You are thinking like a trader. If I put this, I can make this thing. That's it. How? What happens after the sale? Just very quickly, let's just quickly do this and do this or do this. Now he did what he wanted to do in 54. This is 2025. You are crying for what your representative denied you guys in 54. Generations. I mean, he's late now. He's died in 96. He's not alive to see all this. Although he saw Biafra, the civil war. Think about it. So he denied you. I mean, bad news. That's all. We can't even keep blaming him. What do you do now? You get people that believe in your cause, International Assembly, House of Assembly. You play the game. It might take a while, but you win eventually. And then they give us that clause. Me, I want that clause. Why? Let the people in Igbo land decide if they want to stay or not. And if they choose to stay, anybody that then goes around to say they are marginalizing us, but they would have said that they are the ones that said they want to stay. I was reading a book yesterday. I was just like, why is this happening again? It was a document from 1968. What they were looking for dual citizenship in Nigeria. They wanted to leave Nigeria and have Biafra, but they wanted dual citizenship. They wanted the same customs, the same. I mean, maybe one day we'll talk about it. I've read it here before, and like, it's happening again. It's painful. It means that no generation has learned nothing. So everybody starts afresh with no lessons, nothing to build on. If you give referendum now and you give us that clause, that provision, people vote. If majority of the Igbos vote to leave. They leave peacefully. Even if it's, again, it will be difficult. But again, this is about whether it's going to be easy. The one they are doing right now, carrying guns, is it easy? You have young people who cannot engage intellectually. You start talking, they're insulting you. If you give them gun, they'll be shooting you through the phone, but it's your parents that will kill you. But the point is that you can't have conversations because you have indoctrinated people with nonsense one-liners and talking points and dangerous narratives and single narratives and marginalization narrative and a victim narrative and all this nonsense, and they're just thinking, oh, we are going to fight, go grill, zobu. Is that how to build nations? Lastly, before I move away from this is to us as Yoruba people. Gba àwọn zọbúzọbú tó wọn bá kí lórí social media ẹ jẹ́ farabalẹ̀ torí àwọn ọ̀dọ́ wo nǹkan tẹ́ ń kọ sórí social media mọ́ sọ Yorùbá ni àwọn ọ̀dọ́ ń wò àwọn kan tẹ́ máa wà tó máa rò pé bóyá nǹkan tẹ́ ń sọ ó mú ọpọlọ wá tó bá jẹ́ lọ́lọ́ gba nígbàkúgbà bí àwọn ará bíi ẹ̀wọ̀n dá lérò. Look around. Every region has security challenges, but ibi tí wọ́n lè sùn tó máa fi ẹ̀dọ̀ lórí òróǹro ní Nàìjíríà yìí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ni. It's not perfect though, but people are soon have fear the Lord in other words, you can have peace of mind. It's not perfect though, but people are soon have fear the Lord in other words, you can have peace of mind. And I've said it, no matter how many times they try, they'll continue to fail. Why? Because it has nothing to do with they don't care what happens. I don't even know how all these Yoruba things are coming to my mouth, but we thank God for grace. For instance, I'm going to play you a video. Bianco, that's a new one. You've not heard it before. In other words, 2 p.m. is Aila. Asuba is 5 a.m. So they don't mind if everywhere gets dark at 2 p.m. because that gives them what they want. Maybe they want to go and kill people, or they are armed robbers, or they need the dark to work. This we cannot afford as Yoruba people. But if you're a Christian specifically, let me address this before we move on to what Trump said in Syria. If you're a Christian, please have empathy for the Middle Belt, for North Central, even for Igbo people, for everybody, have empathy. But don't be naive. Don't be naive. They're shouting, Jesus, they're doing for the Lord. Even the Lord does not know what they are doing for him. He knows they are just lying to themselves. Nobody's doing anything for the Lord. They're doing for themselves. Don't be carried away with all these narratives as a Christian. Because that's actually what there is in America right now. Because, oh, the Christian, I saw a tweet. You're there. Oh, are you Christians in Nigeria? I hope you are able to go to church. Me, I was like, hey. People say talk about Nigeria. You think that you now be asking yourself, do I live in Nigeria or am I somewhere between the US? I mean, like, that's the kind of narrative that they push. And as a Christian, because you believe all things, before you know it, you believe nonsense. Please don't. God bless you. All right. Thank you very much for listening. There's a second part to this video. It's also a video on YouTube, on the YouTube channel Busui Oris. This one is titled Middle Belt or Igbo Land is a Christian genocide story about faith or IPOB. I'd like us to listen to this and then we'll have a conversation afterwards. All right, thank you. Hello? Okay, great. Just a second, you'll get to listen to it now. But you're not going to take cognizance of it because it's not loud enough and you don't even care as much. And this is the truth. They've been through stuff, and for the most part, people didn't even know what was going on. I gave an example the other day. In Southern Canada, there's a group called Adara, a very, very small ethnic group. They went through the worst thing a few years ago. Most people did not even know. They were making videos and, of the death. But you see, once they say they are killing Christians. Now you have to listen. Because it's not just an ethnic group. Because when I mentioned Adara here the other day, nobody on this platform had heard of that name. I think one person, just one other person apart from myself, had heard of the name. Most people did not even know there was any group called Adara. And it's not your fault. We have over 300. If you go to the Middle Belt, in some places you have like 30. In Taraba, for instance. It's not like Southwest where we're all Yoruba. Some people in one state, in one local government, you might have more than 10 ethnic groups. They're very small. But so when they're going through stuff and they're talking, you don't really hear it. And it's a shame. But the only way to make their voices heard is to hold on to an identity that is actually bigger than the ethnicity, which is their faith. Is it true that Christians are being killed? Yes. Are they all being killed because they're Christians? Not exactly. And I've had these conversations with people, not one person, with people from the Middle Belt, and we kind of have the same understanding of what's happening. It's a strategy that makes sense. And I remember saying during the last election, when Pastor Eneche was saying the things he was saying, people were angry. I was like, I don't like the rhetoric, but I understand it. It's from Benue State. Right? They are experiencing the death. He sees this thing happening. It's from there. It's the way it's going to feel about it will be different from the way I would feel about it. Although I don't like the rhetoric, but I understand where it's coming from. It's the same thing with this thing. It's not Christian versus Muslim, but I understand why it has to be painted as Christian, because that's the way of getting, that's the way to get the stuff across to the entire world. Like, something is happening here, you guys see what's happening. So they have to latch on to something that is bigger than the numbers, which is what they had in the ethnicities. So this is why it became like a Christian, you know, Muslim and Christian. And I'm saying this to say that there are some people who, in trying to say that it's not like it's a religious war, they also miss this fact that people are being killed. In different states across the Middle Belt, especially. Forget these clowns that are making noise, you know, pushing an agenda in Washington. We'll talk about them in a bit. But the real people that actually have the issue, the real people that are folks in the Middle Belt, and they have a legitimate basis for what they're talking about. People are being killed. However, the killings are usually happening because of land. There's no Christian land in that place. Nigeria has no Christian land or Muslim land. Nigeria has ancestral lands. Think about it for a second. People don't want your land because you're a religious clinic. They want that place for whatever reason, and you know why they would want the land. It's about the space. And some of this thing goes before Nigeria's independence, so goes back before Nigeria's independence. Like, things have been happening in that regard, right? There are people, for instance, who can tell you of wars fought by their fathers in the Middle Belt more than 100 years ago, 150 years ago. It's beyond the faith thing, but faith will help amplify their concerns, amplify their cries, and find the word to see what's going on. But it's true. And this is the issue. Please listen attentively. Don't misquote me in case somebody wants to quote what I want to say. If those people were animists, if they were traditional worshippers, they would still have been killed. Do you understand? If the folks in the Middle Belt were traditional worshippers, they would still have been killed. Because that land is not about religion, it's about the space. It's about people that are going after what they possess. But it just so happens that the people who are there right now are Christians. And the way to get their grievances out to the world is by saying this, and it is right. But we must be very careful not to now have this simplistic understanding of what's going on, like it's Christian versus Muslim, because the Muslims killing those Christians are also killing some other Muslims in the same area. Now, those two things are not mutually exclusive, and to understand one does not cancel the other. And to acknowledge one does not cancel the other. To say, oh, they're only killing Muslims, does not mean they're not killing Christians. They're killing Christians, does not mean they're just Muslim versus Christian. And an American will see things like that based on two reasons. Number one, their own politics. All right, they're having, their own domestic issue. They interpret the world through the prism of their domestic issues. That's America. We know that. We know. give some people maps now, tell them to look for Australia, they'll be somewhere around Morocco. That's the kind of, we know, like, nothing happening outside the world really means much, unless, of course, it comes to what they're really concerned about. So that is there. Number 2 is what this man referred to. I'm going to read some to you. Then we'll now listen to some things. The man said this, and I think that it's important to take note of it. By the way, someone said earlier that this shows that the Nigerian government has failed. Of course, they're not doing the best as far as security is concerned. They're not doing the best. Maybe they're doing their best, but it's definitely not the best. There's a lot more that the government can do. I don't think the government is saying that, we've been doing a fantastic job. It's just that at the end lagoon no, they're not saying that. They're not saying that everything is perfect. Is that talking about school shootings in America? Does that mean that because of school shootings there's no security in America and the government is doing nothing? It's quite funny that when we talk about school shootings in America, everybody seems to understand this. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. All right, well, good. It says here, Trump's eruption is a culmination of a years-long lobbying campaign in Washington by Biafran separatists who have cleverly repackaged the secessionist grievance as a struggle to save persecuted Christians. Since 2019, Biafran groups have declared more than $1 million on lobbying in Washington through Mercury Public Affairs, BW Global Group, and Daniel Golden. 1 second. Somebody says, so Pastor Neche should be lying and you are defending that Silverly Africa Socialist King. I pray that whatever is wrong with you be healed. Because some of us, this is the problem in Nigeria sometimes. Some of you sit in the comfort of your homes and you just pontificate. Have you been to the Middle Belt? This is the problem with supporting Kini blindly. What do you mean he's lying? How is he lying? Were his people not killed? Were folks in Benue said, no, were they not being killed? Did you not see those videos? Did you? Even if you didn't visit, let's assume, maybe you are not around. Even if you did not visit, are you saying you didn't see that happen? See, there are 2 ways to these things. There are people who are pushing a false narrative. We are going to acknowledge the truth of what is happening. And again, there's this thing that Nigerians have to do, to be honest. We have to be able to compartmentalize. Like, people discuss politics in a very simplistic way. It's too pedestrian. If it's this, it cannot be this. It can be this and this. It's social sciences. It's not a pure science where if you mix chemical, you get something. You might get something else. 1 + 1 can be 11. And I'm going to go to the other one that I think you like. But let's first talk about the fact that if people from the Middle Belt are crying out, they are using Christianity because that's what to make people hear them. And what they are going through is real. Stop reducing it to they are lying. What do you mean they are lying? The person that his family member was killed, you are saying they are lying. It doesn't mean the other part is not true. The other part will get to at that moment. No. There are like 3 conversations in this. I mean, at least 3. Number 1 is that people are being killed. And that the ones who are shouting the most are the Christians being killed. Although they're not necessarily being killed for their faith, but they are Christians and they are being killed. Number 2, the people killing them are also killing Muslims. But the Muslims have not used that one to shout in the word out, they are killing Muslims. And that's why the Christian rhetoric is louder. And it has to be louder because that's the only thing those other groups have in order to get their voices heard. Neither of these 2 things are mutually exclusive. It's not like if I believe this one, I can't believe this one. Let's be careful. Let's have compassion on those who are also losing their lives. So that we don't assume like I just want to be right. I just want to get my argument across. I want to win an argument. I don't really care. It's just they're also killing Muslims. So if, for instance, you lose money now, maybe in the stock market, you lose money. and then you're feeling bad about it, and someone comes to you, and then the person tells you, they also lost money last year. Would that do anything to you in that moment? Person doesn't really care whether you lost money. Just like, I also lost money in the stock market in 1995. Kilo call me. So the point is, acknowledge that, and no. Like I said earlier when I was talking about Pastor Nechek, even though to me it makes no sense, there's no reason you shouldn't have Muslim tickets in Nigeria. Why can't you? If you have no Muslim ticket in this country, that means there would never be a Muslim president from Yoruba land. It's just what it is. We can discuss the details of that later. But the man who says no Muslim ticket, I get why he's saying it, even though I don't agree with him. And that is what he's saying from a perspective of what they are going through in his village. Is not a lie. Don't say it's a lie. It's also disrespectful to him. Just imagine and tell you that what you are also saying is a lie. Anyway, so we've acknowledged those two things. The third part, so the first part is that people are being killed in the north, and they are mostly Christians, or the ones who are loudest now, thank God they have been heard, are Christians. There are Muslims also being killed in the same north by the same group of people. Number three, there's another group that lives very far away from the Middle Belt. Very far away from the action place. Someone says, I'm fond of saying I'll discuss something later. I can't say everything at the same time. Just focus on the matter. There's a group of people living far away from the hotspot though. That group is now using the events happening miles away from home to push an agenda that will suit their own narrative. And they're not very smart. They put out videos yesterday. I don't know how dumb you can be. The person only announced that they were beginning calling a CPC. Nigeria is country of particular concern. And all of you moved out making videos and saying that you are the ones who have been pushing this thing for years. If you think I'm lying, just hold on. I'll read to you. Let me first read this one from the article I read earlier. It says, Trump's eruption is a culmination of a years-long lobbying campaign in Washington by Biafran separatists. The issue is not happening in Biafra. In fact, there's no Biafra. Let's stop all this kidding. There's nothing. It's not happening in Igbo land. But they have used what's happening in the Middle Belt to push a narrative, even though their leader says it was a Jew. He says he went to Israel and put on a shawl. I think he went to the Western Wall. He says he's a Judaist or Jew, but suddenly, because of what's happening elsewhere, they have to plug into that and say, hey, the people are saying it's happening here too. Christians are being killed. How do I know? Stay with me. Trump's eruption is a culmination of a years-long lobbying campaign in Washington by Biafran separatists who have cleverly repackaged their secessionist grievance as a struggle to save persecuted Christians. Since 2019, Biafran groups have declared more than $1 million on lobbying in Washington through Mercury Public Affairs, that's number 1, BW Global Group, number 2, and Daniel Golden, number 3. Oh, you probably won't believe this because you're a thinking person, or we are thinking people. So you're like, could possible ki on se nkan be ko wa sọ pé òun ló ń ṣe nti o ti pé 7 up to 48 hours is the declaration of CPC. Anyway, if in case you are doubting what I'm saying, let me play you something and then I'll explain. Oh, good. In fact, before I play, I think I should read something first. Oh, Michelle. Let's play it first. Listen to this and see how wonderfully interesting this is. Take a listen, please.
Thank you, President Trump! Yeah! You did it.
Put it
We love you.
Cut off CPC.
Yes. Yes.
Make it happen. The best president in the whole wide world.
Yes.
God bless you, Trump.
God bless you, Trump.
Good. More to come. More to come.
Yes. President Trump! Yeah!
You
did it.
Put it
We love you.
country of CPC.
Yes. Yes.
Make it happen. The best president in the whole wide world.
Yes.
God bless you, Trump.
God bless you, Trump.
Good. More to come. More to come.
Yes.
Let's say that you want something, right? And then President Donald Trump has taken the first step. Let's assume he's doing it for you. He has taken the first step by declaring Nigeria a country of particular concern. Now, if you're a thinking person, which I don't think a lot of these people are, if you're a thinking person, the question should be, you know that it's a marathon and that what you just have is a milestone, not a destination. Therefore, if you had sense, you'll still be hiding and cooking strategically. But, will I say, we're expecting too much. Let me read some of the things that they put out there. In fact, one of this group is called American Veterans of Igbo Descent, and they put out this statement. Dear President, these are the people though. Dear President Donald Trump, God bless you for standing up for the amazing people of our beloved Nigeria and for righteousness around the world. We are avid American veterans of Igbo descent, native Nigerians, now loyal Americans who served proudly in the United States military. We know the terrain in Nigeria. We know the terrain in Nigeria. We were trained to the best standards of the United States military. We know the people. We know the issues. Sir, we are ready for action. Let us help. We are. Send us. They are called AVID. AVID, American Veterans of Igbo Descent. Does this in any way remind you of ABN in 1993? Association for Better Nigeria. Here we are, send us. You know the terrain. To do what? To invade Nigeria. Because of what? Because you want Biafra. If you really want Biafra, what's the way to get in Biafra? See, the way to get Biafra is one of the... I see someone in the comment section say, why not just let them go? Nobody is holding Igbos back. If they really want to leave, the question should be asked, and by the way, if you are Yoruba, don't ask questions like this. What it gets here? What it gets what? When people say things, I let them go. Who is holding anybody? There's a process. If you want to see, until a representative of the people from the Southeast says this thing in the parliament, I don't think they are serious. Somebody has to say it. A representative in parliament should say it. And what do they do? Now they're working on constitutional amendment. You want this new place. You ask for a referendum to be included in the constitution. You trigger that clause. Included. Don't forget that 1954, it was your representative that said there must be no inclusion of secession clause. 1954. You have been crying about it since 1963 now. That's okay. So what you need to do is now get another representative to push for that in parliament. Once they get it, it's referendum, and then people will vote. And if you want to leave, you leave. It might take a year or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10, depending on how fast they push it. But no, you are telling Oyibo, here we are, send us. We are ready for action. Some people don't have the gifts or strategy. Anyway, let me read a few things. One of the people who stood with the gentleman who was here in Nigeria a while back, former mayor of one of the towns in Texas. He was one of the people here in this video where they're saying, yes, take all over the nation, we are best president. Anyway, one of them is Kanunta Kanu. He says, I sincerely want to thank Mike Arnold. That was the man I was talking about, ex-mayor of Texas. He wasn't mayor of Texas, he was mayor of one town in Texas. And Senator Ted Cruz, and so on, come these groups: American Veterans of Igbo Descent, AVID, Ambassadors for Self-Determination and Rising Sun Foundation. That's the one that, what's the name of this guy? What's the name of this guy that's in detention? I was telling them to go and collect money for him. Kanu. That's one he was talking to. Anyway, Ambassadors for Self-Determination for Rising Sun Foundation for the outstanding job they have done and are still doing, which has prompted the American president to react to the Christian genocide long going on in Nigeria. 30th October 2025, picture men celebrating the dissolution of Nigerian state as a country of particular concern. Is that group, the Avid USA? Number one, you will fail. But number two, the reason you also fail is because I don't think people are gifted to do some things. Let's even assume you are doing this. Why not just you buy some petty shiny back taking off our bow? I want back pay o. I want go back go. You buy that pay lady. Tissue any bata half for what boje. And then you go to it. It's just beginning to tar. How do I say that in English? So we have a proverb in Yoruba land. Say you're roasting your yam and it's working, right? Your yam it's cooking. There is a system, you eat it in a way that, you have to protect what it is that you have. Say, we are the ones that did it. What did you do? Is your goal to get president to call Nigeria CPC, or your goal to have your own nation? And how do we know this? From things like this. The avid guys. That's why people are living abroad all these years. They've lived abroad. They've gone to school. They have degrees, but it's still the same mindset. At this rate, it's congenital. Anyway, while we're still reading that to try and understand what's in the sub, some of the representatives, especially in the US, began to put out some things that let us realize exactly what this is about. One of them, his name is Gunther Fellinga-Jan. He says, I call the EU to recognize the Biafra Republic emerging out of failed ex-Nigeria and remind the free world that we failed Biafra in 1967 to 1970 during the liberation war to our eternal shame. We must make up for our failure and endorse Biafra Republic now. Was this what the Christian genocide thing was about? It was not about the Middle Belt. It was not about the people being displaced. How did it become about Biafra? Another one says, the indigenous people of Biafra, led by the unlawfully incarcerated Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, are victims of the Nigerian government's support for Islamic jihadists. So the reason they incarcerated Nnamdi Kanu is because he's a Christian. Wow. Anyway, in case you are wondering where I got that from, let me read the full letter from the same group, Avid. You guys need to be smarter than this. November 2nd. You can't pull something like this out. It's so early. Who advises these people? Anyway, let me read to you what they wrote here. American veterans of Igbo descent. The White House, November 2nd, 2025, the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C. Dear President Donald Trump, the American veterans of Igbo descent sincerely and warmly welcome the recent designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern, CPC, by your administration. We want to express our deep gratitude for this action, which offers renewed courage to Christians in Nigeria to continue practicing their religion. The whistleblower behind this genocidal act is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who prophesied the killing of Christians by the terrorist groups sponsored by the government years ago. Mr. Kanu is still detained illegally in solitary confinement over 4 years without charges. Without charges. Prophesied. We are ready and willing to assist in any efforts aimed at the liberation and protection of Christians in Nigeria. God bless President Trump and God bless the United States of America. Wow. Our children should not write letters like this. It's too early. It won't even work, sir. You guys, you are the same. When it comes to strategy, there will be people who are not there are exceptions, but again, exceptions prove the rule. Jesus is Lord. You're saying Nnamdi Kanu is dead because a whistleblower. Whistleblowing for who? Is he a hunter? I'll be an hunter then. So the point I'm trying to make is a lot of things are coming out now, making it very clear that this whole thing was not about the Middle Belt. And that's what's painful. Because like I said, they need help. Nigeria needs help, particularly in the Middle Belt. Let's not joke around. Nigeria needs help, particularly in the Middle Belt, in the North. And people are being killed, and many of them are Christians. It is true. So if that's what we're really talking about, Niboma makes sense. But apparently some people who have nothing to do with the Middle Belt, whose governors are saying that they are the ones killing themselves, and that if you go to the forest, you will have Emmanuel and Peter, that they're all Christians. That so, and by the way, that's Governor Soludo, not me. All right. Thank you very much for listening. We're just going to have some responses and reactions. We'll start with TikTok. I'm going to read some things on YouTube as well. If you'd like to speak on TikTok, please send your request. I'll bring you up. We have some minutes to have these reactions before we end the live session today. By the way, if you're joining us for the first time, we have these sessions every weekday, Mondays to Fridays, 4 p.m. Ife time, West African time. So we'll be here again tomorrow. So please join us 4 p.m. We're streaming right now on Facebook, on YouTube, and right here on TikTok. We usually add Twitter and Twitch on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. All right. So let's read some of the reactions, and then we'll see how much we can take before we close the session for today. Meanwhile, on Thursday, we're releasing the first episode of Redomi Republic. It's our game show. We talk about Nigerian politics and Nigerian history, and also Yoruba history and Yoruba culture. So, in case you don't know about it, it's called Redomi Republic. So look out for that to be on Redomi Republic YouTube channel on Thursday, and also on Busui Ori's YouTube channel. I'm sure you're gonna like it. And then on Friday, we're going to have a session here where we'll have the quiz. So if you'd like to be part of that, I just put up the ad on your screen. Kindly go to linktree/Redomi Republic to register. There's a form there. You click on that and then you register. Very easy to do, and then you can come up to be part of the session. All you have to do is to have a TikTok account or have access to one. Doesn't have to be your own. Show your face, make some money. You answer every correct answer you provide will fetch you a particular amount of money. All right, so register for Redomi Republic. We'll have another recording on Friday live 4 p.m. Ife time, West African time. Back to the topic. All right, so let's get into, oh boy, people are saying all kinds of things in this YouTube comment section. Oh. Say data boys in action. Probably think you're talking to your dad. He's the one who is doing data boy. Douglas Ojina says statements made about 10 years ago when you are dumb. Literally, the governor of Anambra State made that statement last week. I watched the video live. It was an interview, a media chat. Shemo Kimbaloye was right there, right? Surrounded by the governor was surrounded by media practitioners from different media houses, and here you are saying it's 10 years ago. One of the major problems I think I have, that you guys have, is your inability to be factual and to actually accept that everything is not perfect, right? And even if the truth is staring at you in the face, you will find a way to believe in lies. Afisheni. All right, I'll read a few more things. A lot of insults. Well, on YouTube, yo. Oh, but YouTube just came here to insult me today. I think they opened the door. I don't know who let the dogs out, but we'll find a way to get you in the pen. All right. I think we're good. I don't want to read insults because it's not necessary. Olawale Oyeyinka on Facebook, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for that comment as well. All right. I don't come on camera on TikTok, and TikTok doesn't really like when people don't come on camera, so the views might reduce, but it's okay. All right, so yeah, YouTube has a problem with, TikTok has a problem with people not showing their faces. All right. So yeah, YouTube has a problem with TikTok has a problem with people not showing their faces. So I'm not showing my face regardless. But we're good, and it's also good to know that people are watching on other platforms. We'll be showing our faces on Wednesday. So tomorrow, hopefully, the views will be better. In fact, they will be better because that's a new algorithm. Cornell says, how much did they pay you? Not enough to... You know what? I don't want to respond because I'm going to have to send you home to your parents. It's definitely more than everything that your entire family can make in a year. All right, Kate Akintoye says, keep doing what you are doing. Thank you very much. Thank you, Miss Kate, and thank you for your support. So there's a problem I think we're having in Nigeria. It's a cultural issue. People assume that whatever it is that they're going through in their region is what every other person is going through, but that's not true. Where you come from, you can't do things without being paid. All right. As a matter of fact, everything to you is transactional. So when you see people doing things in your mind, they must have been paid for, to do it, because you don't have the concept of nation building and public service. All you think about is how to make a quick buck, and it's showing. Anyway, that's that about your issues. I'm going to quickly play something from Governor Soludo. All right, just to answer the person who said earlier that, that stuff we're talking about happened he said 10 years ago, but that's not true. Here's Soludo speaking on the idea that the issues that they have in the South is Christian on Christian, not Muslim versus Christian. Take a listen to this, please. You already know what happened, I've said it. President Donald Trump designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern.
He is facing an existential threat in Nigeria. Thousands and thousands of Christians are being killed. Radical Islamists are responsible for this mass slaughter. I am hereby making Nigeria a country of particular concern. That's a legal definition. When the Christians or any such group is slaughtered, like is happening in Nigeria, 3,100 versus 4,476 worldwide. What horrible numbers. Something has to be done. I am asking Congressman Riley Moore, together with Chairman Tom Cole and the House Appropriations Committee, to immediately look into this matter and to report back to me. And I mean, immediately. The United States cannot stand by while such atrocities are happening in Nigeria and numerous other countries. It's not only Nigeria, it's all over. We stand ready, willing, and able to save our great Christian population around the world. This is not going to happen. The killing of Christians is not going to happen.
So what I'm going to do is this. We're going to start with the reactions from certain politicians, starting with Rabiu Musa Kwakwanso, who was the former governor of Kano State. Then we'll listen to the governor of Anambra State, that's Professor Charles Soludo, and then we'll get deep into some of these things. Very interesting stuff we're going to talk about today. So let's start with Rabiu Musa Kwakwanso. He says, I have noted with increasing concern the heightened pronouncements on Nigeria by President Donald Trump. This follows the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern. It is important to emphasize that our country is a sovereign nation whose people face different threats from outlaws across the country. The insecurity we face does not distinguish based on religious, ethnic, or political beliefs. The United States should assist the Nigerian authorities with better cutting-edge technology to tackle these problems, rather than posing a threat that could further polarize our country. The Nigerian government should also consider appointing special envoys from its distinguished diplomats to engage the American government. Additionally, it is necessary to appoint permanent ambassadors to represent Nigeria's interests on the international stage. To my fellow countrymen, this is an important moment where we should emphasize unity of belonging over division. God bless Nigeria, RMK. Personally, I think this is one of the best responses from any Nigerian politician. All right, but let's listen to Governor Charles Soludo and what he thinks about this whole brouhaha. Take a listen, please. The exchange as well. So the audio is not the best. I'm going to read from Sahara Reporters. We covered the exchange as well. Criminals in Southeast Forest killing people bear Christian names. You know what? I'm going to come back to this. Let's take cable first. So I want to let's not change the topic yet. Let's take cable first. It says here, saludo to Trump. If Africa followed your logic, we would have invaded US over Black Lives Matter. Chukwuma Soludo, governor of Anambra, says Nigeria's security challenges are more complex than the Christian versus Muslim conflict. Speaking during a media chat on Sunday, Soludo said President Donald Trump's threat to protect Christians in Nigeria oversimplifies the issues. He said, while the U.S. has the right to hold opinions on global matters, any form of intervention must respect international law and Nigeria's sovereignty. As a country, America has its own rights to have its own views about what is going on elsewhere, he said. But when it comes to what it does, I am sure it must also act within the realm of international law. The governor said the Nigerian government should engage in a deeper conversation to address the concerns raised, adding that facts must be properly presented. According to Soludo, most of the killings in the Southeast are not driven by religion, but by internal conflict. People are killing themselves. Christians killing Christians, he said. The people in the bushes are Emmanuel, Peter, John, all Christian names, and they maimed and killed thousands of our youth. It has nothing to do with religion. He said if Nigeria were to seek foreign technology or hardware, not external threats. Soludo dismissed any talk of invasion, saying the same logic would be absurd if African nations threatened to invade the US over racial violence. Quote, you had policemen killing some blacks. I remember the Black Lives Matter, hashtag Black Lives Matter protest. And somebody would say, maybe Africa should go and invade America because blacks are being killed. I'm not quite sure, unquote, he said. He added that national dialogue is the best path forward. I think there's a need for deeper conversation. He said it must end in conversation, and I'm sure the government of Nigeria will respond very robustly. Nigeria is such a big country, and the government is doing a lot to safeguard it. Soludo, who is seeking re-election next Saturday, noted that the Southeast is predominantly Christian and that the crisis in the region should not be mischaracterized. In this part of the country, we are 95% Christian, he said. The people in the bushes killing others bear Christian names. It is wider than the categorization of Christians and Muslims. Nigeria will overcome and it will end in conversation, he said. All right, so that obviously covers what our reporters also reported. All right, thank you very much for listening. That was a reportage of Governor Charles Soludo talking about the problems they have in Anambra State. Now, just to respond to someone in the comment section, so the title says how IPOB is using the Middle Belt crisis to push its agenda. Some of you are coming in here asking me about Igbo. The title literally says IPOB. But you see, the thing is this, and I said it earlier, while we're listening, that I used to believe, and I still believe in some ways, that IPOB is not necessarily synonymous with Igbo. And it's important to think that way, or else you're going to assume that everybody is crazy. That there is IPOB, that's an organization, and then there is Igbo, that's an ethnicity. But just what you notice is this: once you talk about IPOB, everybody begins to act like they are nuts. They've gone nuts. The truth is this: what IPOB is doing is going to affect the Igbos, whether they are members of IPOB or they're not members. And I've said it several times: everybody is exactly thinking alike from the Southeast. But that's also to say that there are no exceptions. But the rule is that you're supposed to think this way, and the exceptions don't talk. They're in the minority and they're very quiet. They exist, to be clear. They're not mad like these other clowns, but they don't usually speak up. And now that we're talking about what's happening and how an an organization is using the misery of the folks in the Middle Belt to further or to push their own agenda, you're saying, oh, are you hating Igbos? Number one, you have to understand this. Number one, I don't even have the capacity to hate. I think it's a waste of energy. Right, let alone to even waste that on you. It's ridiculous to be hating anybody, because how much time do I have in my life that I want to be hating people? That's number one. Number two, there's nothing to hate in you. If I were to hate, number one, I cannot hate. But let's even say that's what I choose to do, which is stupid. It will not be on you, because there's literally nothing to hate. So just calm down and don't take yourself too seriously. Okay, God bless you. To the clowns who came in here later and just insulted everybody, why is it that you guys don't have the capacity to actually have a conversation? You can ask questions. You can even provide rebuttals. Did I say you can? I apologize. You should be able to, but you can't because you lack the capacity. But you'll be all right, hopefully. May God bless you. Everybody will be all right. Nigeria will work. And let me end by saying this. This thing about country of particular concern that Nigeria has been designated to be by the United States president is actually unfortunate. I would have preferred if the Nigerian government had done something, especially the military and everybody. I'm sure they're doing great work, but it's definitely not enough. Clearly, right? People are dying, and it's important that that is actually sorted. And I hope that with the change of guard, with the service chiefs that have been changed right now, that hopefully we're going to have we're going to have solution to the problem, especially in the Middle Belt, where a lot of people are being killed. Regardless of whether there is for Christian, because they are Christians or not, people are being killed. So that should be handled, and it's good to also know that the federal government is, talking, but we also want to see more results. And we also read the news yesterday that the president, had a conversation with Trump. We'll read more on that tomorrow. So it's good to see that development. However, it's also important to say this, that the group, they're looking around and are repeating what happened in 1966. And what happened in 66 was that there were folks who were passionate about Nigeria, who wanted to see a better Nigeria. They were in the army, they were revolutionary in their thinking, and they were recruited to be part of a particular coup. Now, I've said it, if you were part of the session we had last week, that those people were recruited because, of course, they were passionate, they were revolutionary in their thinking, but the truth of the matter is that the people who recruited them were not revolutionaries. And what you notice is this. Today, people say, a lot of people still say it till today, I still heard it this week from an elder, that the coup was an Nzogu coup. Nzogu was not even the one who planned that coup from the scratch. Nzogu joined in October of 65, but the folks who started planning the coup started planning in August. And the primary people that planned that coup were Okafo, Ifajun, and Oji. And those three people, okay, of course, Nzogu was one in the north. Then they gave the job of announcing, the result of the coup to Ademoyega in Lagos. Why do we call it Nzogu coup today? Because Nzogu was the face of it, because he was the one who used media. And Nzogu was used and dumped, just like Ademoyega as well. Just like they used the revolutionaries to push an Igbo ethnic coup. And by the way, again, no hard feelings, no insult to anybody, but it was an Igbo coup. Right? But it had a facade of revolutionary. And as soon as they were done, it didn't take 24 hours to get those people off. And even the Yoruba man who was running all around the place, apart from Ademoyega, the one who helped the Ironsi to take over power on the 16th of January, was arrested and imprisoned on the 17th, the very next day. That's Victor Banjo. What am I saying here? It's a pattern. There's something that you're passionate about. I'm saying this to Nigerians who are passionate like me about this matter, because I don't like it when people say things like, it's not only Christians, Muslims are also being killed. That's not the point. You have to first acknowledge the fact that these Christians that are talking are being killed. It's important to acknowledge it. However, don't be naive to think that, this is just about what's happening in the Middle Belt. There's something more going on underneath. And thankfully, their stupidity is making us see that it's no longer underneath. It's glaring. Everybody is seeing it now, that they are the ones who have been pushing an agenda since 2016 of a Christian genocide, and that they have spent about $1 million in 1 year to push this particular narrative in the corridors of power in the United States. We read that report earlier. So what does this tell you? It tells you that people who would say that Nnamdi Kanu is in prison because he was a Christian, even though he's not a Christian, he says he's not a Christian, or it was a Christian genocide. Those people don't really care about the death in the Middle Belt. They just need a crutch to use to get whatever nation they are going to get. And do I want them to get a nation? I'm actually indifferent. I don't care if you have your nation or not. I just wish everybody was engaging their brains. For instance, and I've said it earlier, but just in case you're just joining us, I think that the IPOB is actually very powerful in the Southeast. And if they're not going to trust their political leaders to, do what they want in the National Assembly to push, for a bill that will give them secession clause, and they've been around for about 12, 13 years, how come they have not become a political party themselves? How come they didn't get themselves into, because they'll be voted for since they're that popular. But you see, it takes a person who actually has the capacity to think, to be able to think long term. I mean, because anybody can just come up with a way of getting a very short term wins. So now the only thing you're going to get out of this is to have Nigeria designated as CPC, which will be raised eventually. But if you want to have your separate nation, get involved in the process of actually using political means. For instance, with all the wahala that Nnamdi Kanu did, and this whole case is happening right now, guess what people are saying? That a political solution will be better instead of him having to go through the court. But they will go through that court. On 20th November, we're going to hear we're going to have the judgment. But beyond that, if they're now saying that political solution is what is preferred, how about if that political solution has been explored from the very beginning? How come you cannot have, and this goes to Yoruba people as well, those who are looking for the separate nation, how come you can't have a Sinn Féin or Sinn Féin, depending on how you pronounce it, the Irish Nationalist Party? How come you can't have something like SNP, the Scottish National Party? How come it has to be about guns and unknown gunmen, or men known gun, unknown gun, men gun, all this Oyinbo that we didn't hear before now? And by the way, people are saying that the unknown gunmen, like the Amnesty report that we listened to yesterday, that the unknown gunmen are known. Those people are talking about how they know these people to be members of their family, people in their community. I mean, that's stuff for another day. But the point I'm trying to make is this: Nigeria can be better. And I think the way it can get better is to actually change. We can't maintain this status quo and expect to get better. We have to create a structure that actually acknowledges the problems that we have in this country at the moment. But all of that would have to be done through a political process, not people carrying guns and just insulting people all over the place. They will never get it. And that's what I'm saying. No matter how much you guys try, if you try for the next 100 years, you will never have that nation. You know why? Because you are repeating the same mistakes. People did it in 63, they did it in 64, in 66, in 67, all the way to 70, and people just died. And Ojuku ran away. Let's not repeat mistakes. And if you want to repeat the mistakes, God bless you with your mistakes. But it's important for Nigerians to know what is happening. Like, it is beyond Christian versus Muslim. There's another group that is using this old narrative to further their own agenda. And that's what this conversation is about. It's not so much about your ethnic group, but about the organization. And if you think the organization is synonymous with your ethnic group, then so be it. All right. Thank you very much for listening. We're going to be again tomorrow. We're going to continue with the series, How Nigeria's First Republic Ended. Tomorrow will be part 6. We're looking at the book by Shehu Shagari. The book is called Beckoned to Serve. We've been reading it since about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, we're going to have another session on that tomorrow. So please join us 4 p.m. Ife time, West African time. Also, like I said earlier, the first episode of Radio Republic, our game show, will be online in the next I think on Thursday, and then we'll have another recording on Friday. We have a comment here on YouTube. Someone says Ndi Biafra. It is well. I mean, now that you say it, you think about something, right? How come people don't think about an ethnic nation? How come the conversation is not about an ethnic nation? What are they looking for? River State, Edo State, Kinikon State, places that they say they are not Igbo and they're not even Igbo. Can't say Edo State is Igbo. and creating 40 states and sitting inside Finland and creating nonsense. How about fight for an ethnic nation? People will take you more seriously. I will take you more seriously, and I think I will fight for your right to have that. Just like you can have a Hausa nation, a Yoruba nation, an Igbo nation. Why can't you just have an ethnic like an Igbo nation? Why must it be that you need? What do you need those other people for? Why do you want them to be part of your quote-unquote nation? Well, I'm sure we all know the answers, but that will not be our conversation for today. Hello, Lola. Good to see you. All right. Hope everybody had a great time. We'll be here tomorrow, 4 p.m. if we're time, West African time, and we're going to be discussing how Nigeria's First Republic ended, Part 6. Thank you very much. Before we go today, Old Cargo, I hope you got the answer you were looking for. I hope, because you asked me a question and I answered you. I hope you got the answer. Yeah. If you didn't get it, let me know. If I have the time, I'll, know what the issue is, and then we can answer it. If not, with a few points of mine, I'll probably be able to convince you that nobody has time for your ethnic group. But you're not going to do something terrible, and then when people start talking about it, say, you are tribalist, why are you talking about my ethnicity? I don't really care so much about your ethnicity, to be honest. I care about the people though, but not about the idea, because it doesn't really do anything for me. All right, may God bless everybody, may God bless Nigeria. Before we go, we're going to listen to our anthems, the Nigerian anthem and also the Yoruba anthem. We'll be here tomorrow at 4 p.m. and we have conversations on these things. Here's the Nigerian national anthem. Take a listen, sing along. If you don't know the song, please learn the lyrics. God bless you.
In Bonu.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians all are proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be your symbol, that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hand unto our children a banner without stain. O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. Nigeria may be iṣẹ́ wa fúnlẹ̀ wa, fún ilẹ̀-ìbí wa. Kàgbéga, kàgbéga, kàgbéga fáyé rí. Ìgbàgbọ́ wa ni pé bá ti bẹ̀rù làbọ̀ mọ́. Ká ṣiṣẹ́ sómìnira. Ẹ jẹ́ ká máa lépa tẹ̀síwájú fọ̀pọ̀ ire àtòhun tó dára. Ọmọ òkàdìdé bọ́ sípò ẹ̀tọ́ rẹ̀. Ìwọ ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ gbogbo adúláwọ̀.
Àwa ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo adúláwọ̀. Ìmọ́lẹ̀ wo ni wọ́kùn lágbára Ọlọ́run? May Nigeria work in our lifetime? I mean, we be part of the solutions to the problems that we have in this country. May things get better. And may our own wisdom and ingenuity be part of what helps get Nigeria better. Thank you very much for being part of this session. I'll be here again tomorrow, 4 p.m. Ife time, West African time. If you're on TikTok, we're going to start playing the music before 4 so we can get the place set. And then we'll have other people join us a few minutes after 4. Please, we'll see you again tomorrow. We're going to continue the session, How Nigeria's First Republic Ended, Part 6. Thank you very much. To have a lovely evening. Thank you very much for liking and tapping. Thank you, Lola and Olekan, comrade. Thank you very, very much. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.